Hello, I wanted to introduce what ArtOrgTool does and what it doesn't do. ArtOrgTool, or AOT, is a web app written in Flutter for all you techies out there. The first set of features helps watercolor painters to discover new paints. We've got a load of other ideas, but we got to start somewhere, so this is it. My name is Michael. I'm a software developer by day and an amateur artist whenever possible. AOT has been a passion project, and we've almost completed all our features for version 1 and are excited to have people use the tool and supply feedback. The application landing page is here at ArtOrgTool, ArtOrgTool.com, and along with email feedback, there's our other social links here and a button to show the paints that are currently in our paint catalog. Click over here, we get a color wheel picker. Select a sector. There are 4 sectors in the color wheel here, and the paints in that sector are displayed. Selecting each paint shows the reference hue, saturation, lightness value, or HSL value. Clicking on the chevron for a specific paint takes the user to the paint detail page. Currently we're showing the name of the paint, the manufacturer code, the manufacturer of the brand, the product line if it exists. And the chosen paint is represented with the circle with the black dot, center black dot. The similar and complementary paints, that's a bug. Let me write that down right now. That should be similar paints, similar and complementary paints, not colors. That's wrong. So there's another bug. The similar and complementary paints can be displayed by choosing on them, and the user can also go to that product detail page by clicking the chevron for that paint. You go to this other page for New Gamboge and its information. Also, there's affiliate links. Purchase them via Blick, and those are affiliate links. If you purchase them, then we get a kickback that we can use to further develop the product. There's a bit of a bug here that I'm working on. When the user goes back, selecting the back button, it doesn't go back to the proper detail page, but it does eventually take the user back to the color wheel, and you can continue to use the app. We're also adding independent paint manufacturers and a link to the stores for this independent paint manufacturer. In this case, it's an Etsy shop, and you can purchase the paints that way. I wanted to mention what ArtOrgTool does not claim to do, and that's around the reference HSL value. This HSL value, represented with the white and the black outline here, this is just a reference value. It doesn't claim to be the hue, saturation, lightness value of this paint product. I'm working on a blog post to further explain this, but what the reference HSL value represents is the output of an algorithm for a given swatch of the paint. So for example, in this blog post, this is a swatch for Daniel Smith's French Ultramarine. The algorithm goes through each pixel of the selected swatch and puts the HSL value in a bucket. These graphs represent these HSL buckets. This top graph along the x-axis shows the hue value, and along the y value, the number of pixels in this swatch that have that hue. The bottom graph is the range of saturation values for that hue. So for example, that swatch has 273 pixels that have a hue value of 212, which is represented by this tallest bar here in this graph. And if we were to go straight down, the bar in this lower graph shows a saturation range of 0.28 to 1. So this graph here is the saturation from 0 at the very bottom all the way up to 1 at the top. The algorithm further filters the hues to a smaller graph, more representative of that paint, and then through a weighted average selects an HSL value, in this case, a hue of 216.73, saturation of 0.83, and a lightness of 0.566. This is the current way it's being done, and we may extend the algorithm in the future. Lots to experiment with and learn here. How do HSL values change in different lights, different papers, on iOS phones or Android phones using their cameras, versus a flatbed scanner, which this was done with a HP NV printer scanner. Should we process the full range of a swatch or just mass tones or undertones? But at least this current method allows us to place an HSL value for that paint on the color wheel and determine similar and complementary paints for that specific product. That's about it. Would love to hear your feedback for new features, specific paint brands, or colors to add to the catalog. Thanks for your time. Cheers.